If you're over 50 and feeling a little confused or even intimidated by all this AI talk, you are absolutely not alone. Everyone from your grandkids to the evening news seems to be talking about ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, but nobody's actually taken the time to explain what they are in plain, simple English. So let's do that right now. First, a quick reminder of what AI actually is. AI stands for Artificial Intelligence. AI simply means a computer program that has studied an enormous amount of human writing books, articles, websites, conversations, and learned how to respond in a way that sounds natural and helpful. It doesn't think or feel, but it's very, very good at understanding what you're asking and giving you a useful answer. Think of it like a reference library that can talk back to you. Now, ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini are all examples of what's called a conversational AI, or a chatbot. That just means you type something to them, a question, a request, a problem, and they type back an answer. Like texting, but with an incredibly well-read computer on the other end. The big question most people over 50 ask is, why are there 3 of them? Great question. It's a bit like asking why there's McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. They all serve burgers, but they each have their own style, strengths, and loyal fans. ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini all do essentially the same thing, but each one has its own personality and areas where it shines a little brighter. Let's meet each one properly. ChatGPT was the one that started it all, launched in late 2022 by a company called OpenAI, based in San Francisco. It was the first AI chatbot that the general public could actually use, and it caused an absolute sensation. Within 2 months of launching, over 100 million people had tried it. To put that in perspective, it took Instagram 2.5 years to reach that number. People were amazed that you could have a real, flowing conversation with a computer. You could ask it to write a poem, explain a medical term your doctor used, help you draft a complaint letter to your insurance company, or just chat about your day. ChatGPT is available at chat.openai.com, and there's a solid free version that most people find more than enough for everyday use. If you want extra features and faster responses, there's a paid plan called ChatGPT Plus for around $20 a month. For most seniors just getting started, the free version is perfectly fine. Claude is made by a company called Anthropic, and if ChatGPT is the popular kid at school, Claude is the thoughtful, careful one who really listens before answering. Many people find Claude's responses feel a little warmer and more conversational. Less like a textbook and more like a patient friend explaining something over a cup of coffee. Anthropic was actually founded by some of the same people who originally worked on ChatGPT. And they put a very strong emphasis on making their AI safe, honest, and careful. Claude tends to be especially good at reading long documents and summarizing them, so if your doctor hands you a 12-page report you can't make heads or tails of, Claude is excellent at breaking that down into plain English. You can find Claude at Claude.ai, and like ChatGPT, there's a free version available. Gemini is Google's AI assistant, and its biggest advantage is pretty obvious: it's Google. That means Gemini is deeply connected to Google Search, Google Maps, Gmail, and Google Docs. If you already use a lot of Google products on your phone or computer, you can access Gemini at Gemini.google.com, or if you have an Android phone, you may already have it built right in. On iPhones, you can use it through the Google app. Gemini tends to be especially strong when you need up-to-date information, since it can pull from live Google search results. Whereas ChatGPT and Claude's knowledge has a cutoff date, and they don't always know about very recent events unless you're using their latest versions. So which one should you actually use? Here's the honest answer: try all 3. They're all free to start, and see which one feels most comfortable to you. But if you want a simple starting recommendation, if you're an Android user or already deep in the Google world, start with Gemini. If you want to try the most famous one that everyone's talking about, start with ChatGPT. And if you want something that feels particularly warm, patient, and careful, especially good for reading and explaining long or complicated documents. Give Claude a try. Here are some things any of the three can do for you, starting today. They can explain a medical diagnosis or prescription in plain English after your doctor's appointment. They can help you write a letter to a company, to a landlord, to a government office when you're not sure how to phrase things. They can suggest recipes based on whatever's in your fridge. They can help you plan a trip, from flights to what to pack. They can proofread an email before you send it. They can help you understand a contract or a terms and conditions page that's written in confusing legal language. They can even just keep you company and have a chat if you're feeling like talking something through. And perhaps most importantly for a lot of people, they can answer questions you might feel embarrassed to ask another person, because they never judge, never get impatient, and never make you feel silly. A few sensible precautions before you dive in. Never type in your social security number, bank details, passwords, or any sensitive personal information. Treat these tools like a public space. Remember that all three can occasionally get facts wrong, so for anything truly important medical decisions, legal matters, financial choices, always follow up with a real professional. And be aware that if something dramatic or unbelievable is being shared around online, and it claims to be AI-generated content or a real video of a public figure saying something shocking, treat it with healthy skepticism and check a trusted news source. But please don't let any of that put you off. These tools are genuinely some of the most useful things to come along in years. And the wonderful thing is they were designed to be used in plain, everyday language. You don't need to know anything about computers. You don't need any technical background whatsoever. You just need to be able to type a sentence, the same way you'd send a text message. That's it. That's all it takes. So tonight, pick one: ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Open it up on your phone or computer, and just say hello. Ask it something you've been wondering about. See what it says. You might be surprised by how natural it feels, and how quickly it becomes something you wonder how you ever managed without.